had 2 heads and 4 long blue arms.
The Loch Ness Monster.
From outer space.
He just wants to massacre him.
Go on out there and kill them.
Wipe them out. All of them. To the very last man.
Violence. Brutality.
Trick-or-treaters are all dead. Isn't it beautiful? Take a walk in the cemetery. Get eaten up by cannibals.
Celebrate Halloween.
Love and kisses, Penny baby.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Hey, Ballbusters, Bates here with your friend and mine, Ray Mungus, and we're ready to do our dark bidding on episode 51 of Way of Life Live. How is it going over there in Mungusville today?
It's going pretty good. Not too bad. What I gotta ask though, what are we bidding on? A table?
I don't know.
That's the quote. I just watched I rewatched that the other day. We're gonna be talking about it a little bit later, but man, is that such a good movie.
Yeah. Probably one of the better blind watches I just decided to watch one day. And when I mean blind watch, I mean like I didn't know anything about the person who made the movie, didn't know anything about the movie, didn't know what the movie was really about, didn't even watch a trailer. I saw the movie come up, I don't remember, I think it might have been on Netflix or Amazon Prime, something. It was on one of my streaming services, and I'm just like, what we do in the shadows? It's about vampires, and I'm like, all right, this. I kind of like that name. I kind of like the name of the title. It's kind of cool. I like that. It's reminded me of another movie that I really liked. We Are What We Are. Which actually.
Wasn't it a cannibal movie or something?
It was a cannibal movie.
That's right.
But there's actually 2 of them. There's the original, I don't remember if it was Spanish or Mexican version, which is the original version, and that one was not very good at all. And then the American remake, which was unbelievably like a million times better. It's a fantastic movie. And what drew me in with that movie was the title. And the same thing with this. I didn't know anything about it. Saw the title, What We Do in the Shadows. Like this is a great name. I turned it on, and just from the opening, just the theme, the opening song, as the opening credits are rolling by, I was all in. Then you're watching it, and you find out it's a mockumentary about vampires, and it's just like, this is great. And you're watching it, you're like, this is kind of like The Office a little bit, and this is sort of like Borat almost, and you're making all these great comparisons. The movie just keeps getting better and better and better, and the characters are all likable. It's just, if you guys haven't seen it, go please find it, watch it. It's amazing.
I love that. I love that I have this like kind of as the main discussion for today because a lot of movement is happening in that world. But I knew the minute that I put that reference in the very opening that it would just spark the topic of what we do in the shadows. And man, it's just it's such a fantastic movie. But we're going to dive into that a hell of a lot a little bit later. But otherwise, how's everything on your end, man? Anything new and interesting happened today?
That's a loaded question.
That's a very loaded question.
A loaded question. Well, without getting into too many details yet, because we're going to talk about it a little bit later, I have successfully gotten into my first Twitter war with some people I will just call ignorant, and I wholly blame Stefan for I guess watching him get into so many Twitter wars with just ignorant morons on Twitter. I guess it rubbed off onto me, and I just had to go start a war myself. And yeah, that's how that one went. I'm still getting fucking mentions in my timeline from these just they don't want to admit what they really are, and it's sad, but it's just sort of the world we live in. But we'll talk about it a little bit more. We don't want to go into too great a detail on it, but I got some things I got to say. I'm gonna say them a little later. But to
exactly, we're bringing back Pressure Rising later.
Mm-hmm. But on a more positive note, I again want to just send a thank you out to my friends Mike and Jarrett over at Gray Matter Art. You guys know I'm a big fan of Gray Matter Art. I promote their stuff all the time. I've been a big fan of theirs for years. I've spent an exorbitant amount of money on the products that they, produce because I love them. And they thought it would be cool if they sent me a gift as sort of like, I guess, a thank you for being a longtime customer, and they really liked the mystery box on tubing, if you will, video I've done the last 2 years, and they were really happy with how I did it and what I did. So they sent me a gift, and I got it yesterday, and it's their amazing Terminator 2 print, 24x36 poster. And signed by Edward Furlong, and it was just like one of the coolest gifts anyone's ever sent me. And I think it's pretty cool that a nobody streamer and a small-time writer on a little website has managed to garner such a great relationship with a vendor. I mean, I know streamers and writers who been doing this way longer, have way bigger of a following, and they're not able to garner any kind of relationship with vendors to this point. So I think that's pretty cool in this. I wouldn't call this a career. It's not a career, more like a hobby, but so early into this hobby of online streaming and stuff that I've been able to accomplish it, and I'm super grateful to those guys, the whole team over at Gray Matter Art, for what they do and for what they sent me, man. I was like, when I was untubing it yesterday, I'm unrolling it, and I was like dumbfounded. I couldn't even like get the words together within the first couple seconds. I thought they would have sent me something like a little like 12x18 print. I didn't think they were gonna send me a full size 24x36 print, let alone something signed. So I was just like incredibly humbled, and I just want to thank those guys again. I'm probably gonna be thanking them for the next couple of weeks on most of my streams, because that's just the kind of guy I am, and I just want to let them know that how appreciative I was of what they did for me. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I love the print. I think it was a really cool gesture. They always treat us very well whenever we see them at Monster Mania, or the one time we saw them at Comic-Con, and I think the reason these things happen is we just support them. We're not looking to try to bait them on the line for something or look for freebies or anything. We just like the art. We collect the art, and just like them, they're fans of it, just like we are. So I think that's where that sort of relationship really blossomed, and fucking congratulations! It's very awesome, very cool.
Indeed. All right, so let's see. What else? It seems like every week we're announcing a passing now, and it's a trend I am not very fond of. But at 92 years old, I think that's a pretty full life. So we want to send our condolences to the friends and family of Julie Adams, who, if anybody's into classic horror, would know her from Creature from the Black Lagoon. Very famous actress in that regards. And it was it's always sad, even when they're older. It's still very, very sad, very upsetting to hear about these people passing away. We had Dick Miller last week, and now Julie Adams. So I'm hoping this trend really just stops. I mean, and we had lost a couple other people, not too long ago. I think we just lost James Caron. He just died, I think, back in January. Another. He was known for a lot of things, but in the horror world, he was, guy who was in both Return of the Living Deads.
Yeah, sometimes that sticks. You get one role and it shadows you for your entire career. I mean, I was just looking at Julie Adams' body of work, and do you know that she worked from 1949 to 2018? It's like 70 years she was in the business, and that one role in Creature from the Black Lagoon is the one that she's going to be remembered for. Especially now.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes sometimes.
But what a hell of a career! I got to give it up for that. I may not have seen a hell of a lot of her movies, but damn, did she work? she left her legacy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So we want to send our condolences and our regards to her friends and family. She will be loved and remembered by horror fans for generations to come. And it looks like, 92 years old, she led a very full life, hopefully a very happy life. So, rest in peace. All right. Finally, my Punisher Season 2 review series has concluded today.
Hell of a run. And we're talking about runs that are pretty good. Yours has been going strong for the last few weeks.
Yeah. They were pretty fun writing. The season as a whole was okay. Could have been better. They fixed a couple things. But the end of the season really picked up. Like, the last 3 episodes are strong, and they're great. And if you guys haven't seen all of season 2 yet, the very last scene on the final episode, which is most likely the series finale, is going to be the biggest kick in the ass, because we all know this is probably the series finale. Netflix is almost undoubtedly going to obviously cancel this series. And when you see the last scene in the season finale, you're just going to be like, fuck you, Netflix. It is the biggest cock tease you guys will ever see. It'll get you excited until you remember and realize that this show is most likely not coming back. Unless, the Disney streaming platform can somehow grab it in another year or two when Netflix has to surrender those rights. If that's the case, it's going to be a very hard, very long wait. It's if you watch the first 2 seasons thinking, yeah, we got the Punisher, man, that final scene proves you completely wrong. What we got was the Punisher light compared to what we probably would have gotten in season 3. I will leave it at that. I will not spoil the ending. Just watch it.
Damn. Now you're making me wanting to jump on that. I think I'm going to take the rest of the episode off.
But overall, it was a decent season. A little too much on the Billy Russo arc. I wasn't a fan of him this season. Last season, he was great. This season just seemed like a little bit more of the same and just not in a good way. And there was just a way more interesting villain that could have been focused on more. And John Pilgrim, who is actually sort of an inspired character from another Punisher villain named the Mennonite. And John Pilgrim was fantastic. Just an amazing villain all season. Except he wasn't the focus. And I feel that was the biggest problem with this season, was they had 2 villains, and the one villain was really just not interesting in the least, and then you had another villain who was absurdly interesting, but just didn't get enough time. And my other big complaint about this season was the first 3 episodes were outside of New York City. It was beautiful. First 3 episodes I absolutely adored. Loved the first 3 episodes. Then the show went back to New York City, which we all knew was going to happen. The Marvel Netflix shows center around New York. That's the nucleus. That's what binds all these shows together. So you knew Frank couldn't stay out of New York for too long, and I felt like once the show went back to New York, it really slowed down and just felt way less interesting at that point. The new setting, with putting Frank in a new setting, was just great, and it just worked so well with his character at that point. It felt like they were just kind of repeating beats from season 1 when they brought it back to New York. But as I said, we knew it was going to happen. There's nothing you could do about it.
Well, it sounds like it was a good season overall. I mean, I absolutely hate when it comes to television how they don't kind of give them the heads up that something's going to go down. And we all know right now that the Marvel stuff is pretty much out the door with Netflix. But, it saves so much heartache if they said, hey, look, this is the last season, wrap it up. And from what I gather from what you're saying about the final episode, they didn't wrap it up. they left you wanting more, and that's unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. I had to rewind it and watch it like 5 times. Like, did I just see that? Did that just happen? Fuck you, Netflix. So, yes, if you guys haven't checked out my reviews, they're mostly spoiler-free. It's hard to write reviews on these episodes, especially on the later episodes, without revisiting certain aspects from previous episodes. So they're spoiler light. Let's put it that way. I don't spoil anything real massive. So check those out. Also check out my Theater of Terror review. Theater of Terror is a local indie horror flick. It's actually a horror anthology movie. An indie horror anthology movie. That's fucking cool, man. By a local filmmaker right in my area named Tom Ryan. Actually went into the movie not expecting a whole lot. I love watching indie films. Sad thing is, most indie films, they're not good. I respect what, indie artists try to do. It's hard to make these movies, certain movies on small budgets. So I respect and admire a lot of indie directors and writers and actors and all that. But at the same time, I'm going to call a spade a spade. If the movie's just not good, I'm going to say it. I don't mean to hurt feelings. I'm going to be honest. But that doesn't change how I feel about the filmmakers in general, man. Again, I love and admire what those guys do. It's something I can't do. But, as someone who likes to review things, I gotta call it like it is. And calling Theater Terror like it is, it's actually really, really good. It is really entertaining. It's 4 parts of this anthology. They all take place in the same universe, same world. They're not really tied together. There are little bits and pieces here that kind of tie them together, but in the loosest way possible. And the first three segments are great. The first segment has a few little hiccups, and like a pacing issue of sorts. But overall, it's great, and it's a super awesome like throwback to classic like Twilight Zone, and that's what drew me in. Love that. The second one, again, it really really reminded me of some classic Twilight Zone Outer Limit shit, and it was great. It was very simple, sort of creepy and odd. I had one complaint about it, and I didn't even actually put that in my review. And it's not even a complaint; it's more of a nitpick, and I didn't think it was really worth bringing up. I'm not even sure why I brought it up now, but just again being honest. But I really loved it. But the third segment is where I thought the movie really started to shine and come into its own. Really funny, unique, and just wonderfully delicious twist at the end of it. I don't know how else to explain it. The third entry was called Abducted, and it's just great. Again, you know, you got some great Outer Limit sort of feels to it, but then you got sort of a Tales from the Crypt sort of ending twist, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And the fourth segment, which was called Endangered, it was the only one I did not care for. I did not like the acting. I did not like the story. I did not like, I don't know, the acting. All the other segments were fantastic, but this one, it just seemed real hammy, real campy, and just not in a good way. And I think what really hurt it was, you know, obviously indie film, small budget. I know exactly what the budget was. I'm not going to disclose it because I'm not sure if the filmmaker would want me to, but I do know what the budget was. And on the budget that they had for what they were doing, I can understand why the effects and the costume wasn't as good as it should have been. And I think that's what really, really drew me out of that final segment. Again, it's no fault of the filmmakers. You know, you're on money constraints. You got to do what you can with what you have. But at the end of the day, if I'm sitting here and watching it and I just can't believe it, or I just don't buy it, you know, I got to take that into account when I write a review. Overall, I did give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Super impressed. I've been slightly promoting the movie a little bit whenever the filmmaker tweets anything. I am retweeting it out. I have stated how much I did really enjoy the flick on Twitter. Check out my review on deadentertainment.com to get a little bit more detail of exactly how I felt about it.
Or just look in the chat right there. You got that and a link to the website if you're interested in buying a copy. I believe it's on DVD right now.
Indeed. All right. Enough of the jibba jabba. Let's go ahead. Let's get into some horror news here. All right. So dropping about, 45 minutes or so ago, we got breaking news here. The Halloween sequel has found its writer. So I guess that sort of confirms Halloween 2?
If you want to call it 2, like it's so weird when they make a sequel to a movie that's a sequel to the first movie. So is it Halloween 3? Like, I don't know. We're worrying about the wrong details here. We're getting a sequel to
no.
Halloween.
Let's get into them fucking details. Hang on. This is fun.
Oh,
I like
here
this.
we go.
I like this. All right. So we had Halloween 1978. Then we had Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. Okay. Then we had Rob Zombie's Halloween, which was just titled Halloween, and then his sequel, Halloween 2. Now we have...
You're forgetting H2O.
Yeah, but that had a subtitle.
Did it?
Well, yeah, Halloween H2O was Halloween 20 years later. It's
Yeah, but it was technically like part 2 because that ignored all the sequels as well. Or was it part 3? Did it ignore 1 and 2?
Did it?
If I remember correctly, it ignored like 4, 5, 6 at least.
I don't know, but it still had a subtitle, so we're not counting that. We're counting the ones that don't have subtitles.
Fair enough.
So you had Rob Zombie's Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And then we had 2018's Halloween, which was technically Halloween 2 as a sequel to 1978's Halloween. So that Halloween 2, that was the original sequel to 1978's Halloween, doesn't exist anymore. But now we're getting the third Halloween 2, which is now the sequel to Halloween 2018, which is the sequel to Halloween 1978. So technically it's Halloween 3. Oh god, I've gone cross-eyed.
Like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like, oh, my timeline's confusing. And Halloween's like, hold my beer. We're about to make this real fucked up. But if you count H2O without the whole subtitle rule, this is technically like the fourth Halloween 2.
Yeah.
This is bizarre. But hey, 2018's Halloween is getting a sequel. Here's the weird news. A relative newcomer is on board to write the movie. Currently, he is writing. The guy's name is I just fucking had it. Bear with me. Scott Teems. He's currently writing other Blumhouse projects for Stephen King's Firestarter and The Breathing Method. So apparently, they're liking this dude's work despite him being new to the scene. And whatever he pitched them for the sequel to David Gordon Green's Halloween was good enough to lock him down, or at least start talks with him. How does that make you feel after seeing the last film?
Oh, I'm on board, man.
I'm great with a sequel, but I like what the team did in the last movie. So it's weird that they're moving forward in a way that's like, hey, thanks for setting us up. We got it from here. I don't know.
No, it doesn't bother me in the least. And I'm going to explain why. I am perfectly okay with a newcomer coming on to write a sequel to a movie of a popular franchise. And I'll explain why. Because sometimes those newcomers have the proper idea. It's like I have ideas myself on how I could continue franchises that might be dead or thought long dead. How to fix franchises. And if I were ever to be offered a job to write, a sequel to one of these franchises that I love, I'm sure people would think the same thing. Man, this is a newcomer. Who is this guy? Can we trust him with our franchise? And, most people would probably say no because they don't know who you are. But at the same time, that's like a good thing. You got nothing to gauge them on. They could fucking blow the franchise out of the water because they're new. They got nothing to live up for, nothing to live up to at that point. It's like they could just go balls to the wall, fucking YOLO with this script. And I like that. Sometimes these franchises need that fucking kick in the nuts. I think Halloween 2018 kind of got that. It was, a bit more of the same. Obviously we had a kick-ass Laurie Strode, but at the same time, it does feel very similar to the original, which was great. That's honestly what we wanted as fans. We wanted that feeling of dread and terror back in our Halloween movie, and we got that. And now it's time that maybe this newcomer can tweak the formula a little bit, but in a good way, not in like a H2O way, or God forbid fucking a resurrection way. But maybe he's got an idea nobody else has thought of. I've had ideas like that too for sequels and stuff. Ideas that people still haven't thought of. And it's like, maybe this guy has that kind of idea, and I am so on board with people being able to share those ideas. Hopefully this guy was a fan of the franchise, and he's plotted what this sequel could be. And as an aspiring, I shouldn't even say aspiring writer anymore, but as someone who always wanted to be a writer, who has those really creative ideas on how to fix and continue franchises and movies, I got nothing but love for a newcomer coming on to a beloved horror franchise to kind of steer it in good directions.
I respect that, and I definitely see where you're coming from. I like that. Excuse me. I like that they hired David Gordon Green and co. to kind of set the tone for what a Halloween movie in 2018 could be. So the blueprint is there for this guy to walk into and make sure that it keeps that tone at the very least. What scares me about a newcomer, excuse me, is that we are used to newcomers just being, I guess, bullied into doing whatever the studio wants, because take a look at the major franchises from the past, and you've got all these new directors, one-time directors. You look up like Halloween 5 and stuff, and then you see that guy's name, and he's pretty much hasn't worked from that point on. I mean, he may have, I don't know off the top of my head, but my point is they bring on these low, hungry newcomers in just because they're cheaper. They don't have to give a pay raise or whatnot, and then they could basically slap something together and get it out there. The good thing about this is, even though I'm hand shy towards this whole bring in a new person because of the past, Blumhouse has proven that they really give a shit about horror. I would say that they're the modern day Lionsgate when Lionsgate was had the industry by the balls as far as horror went. So that gives me a little bit of ray of light coming through with this. But being a person that grew up watching all these franchises, like watching Freddy go from the most terrifying thing you've ever seen as a kid to riding on a broom with a witch hat, you get a little bit weird about these up and coming directors or writers or whatnot, and wonder, are they gonna put a fucking witch hat on Michael Myers in this next one? You get a little bit scared of what the possibilities could be because of what the past brought, before.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know exactly where you're coming from. As you were explaining that, I was thinking back to a tweet I had sent out a couple years back when I was really getting into my sequel theory and sequel idea for Friday the 13th, the original timeline. I'd fallen in love with the idea so much, and I was writing my treatment for it and everything, and I'm like, this is so good. I wish I knew people. I wish I could send this to somebody. And I'm just like, it's a pipe dream. But I was so proud of my idea and how I had built it. And I'm thinking, I could write this script. I really could, because I only wrote a treatment. But I could write this script. I know I could, but I know that I don't know if I could do it 100% justice. And I'm thinking, I would 100%, share writing credits if I could get somebody else on board with me to kind of help me and steer me in a right direction. And I remember tweeting out actually Adam Green, and I had tweeted him out something like, if the right script and or story came your way for a potential Friday the 13th sequel, would you be interested in helping continue writing and or direct it? And I remember he actually responded to me and said, I don't even remember what he said, but it was it was something along the lines of, yeah, he would be on board, but it all have to depend on the story. And I was just like, sometimes newcomers might have to swallow their pride to kind of get a little bit of legitimacy behind them, and maybe try to bring on a bigger name and give them some credit, because at the end of the day, what you're getting is, you're still getting your name out there, and you're getting guidance from someone who has the experience. It's something I would do personally, again, as a aspiring writer here, that if I could get my script, if somebody Blumhouse said, I want to make your idea into a movie. I'd be like, that's great. I'm glad you guys like the idea. Could I bring on, again, I'll just say Adam Green for an example. Could I bring on Adam Green as almost like a script consultant to help me finish and polish off this script? Again, giving him credit on the with the script. Obviously, you have to. The story is still mine, but I'm still a newbie. I still need that guidance, and that's just me. I don't know if other writers would do that.
You know what? It's interesting that you say that. I would like put out to the world that like Jason Blum is probably one of the best mentors that you could possibly have as a new scriptwriter. So for this dude who's only done so much and he's taking on quite a bit to give to this studio, I think it's, not only is it a promising thing, but it also shows that he's not afraid to listen to somebody who's been successful in the business and kind of have him steered in the proper way. Not to say that Jason Blum's like perched over his shoulder like, no, change that. But at the same time, it kind of ties into what you're saying because, a new person will always have that sort of guidance leading into a big franchise or potential franchises for that matter, no matter what. And that guy seems to have the mind for the business right this second. As far as, quality goes, Blumhouse has been killing it as far as, movie after movie and success after success. So, I think that's a great place to kind of incubate as a new writer or creator for that matter.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. So, yeah, to wrap up this topic, I'm on board with a newcomer, man. Because what that dude is doing, he's living my dream of continuing and helping fix a legendary franchise. If there was one thing in this world I could do, next to having my family, or starting a family rather, it would be to fix the original Friday the 13th timeline. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm always going to want to do it. Will it ever happen? Yeah, no. There's no chance. But this guy he's living my dream. He's doing what I wish I could be doing right now for Friday the 13th. So this guy's got my full support. If the movie sucks, I will eat crow, but I will stand by my words. So yeah, that's my feeling. That's how I feel about this. And fuck you if you don't agree. Okay.
I'm with you on that, man. I'm cautious because of the past. It scarred me a little bit.
No,
but
I get it.
As I said on Twitter earlier, it is way too early to start judging a dude. So I'm reserving my judgment till my ass is parked in that theater. You know what I mean? Till those credits hit the screen. Fuck, man. Regardless of any nerves that I might have, I'll give the guy a shot. Why not? Let's get another Michael Myers movie out there.
Indeed. Next up, all right, I don't know how to say this name. Leigh Whannell.
Yeah, Leigh Whannell.
Yeah, all right. Stupid name.
We just talked about him last week, and you nailed the name.
I don't even remember. Tab to Roy. What did we talk about him last week about?
He's going to be doing the Invisible Man movie, write and directed. And this week it was announced that he is going to write Escape from New York. Possibly direct as well. Well, would you ever have some reservations? You're not going to give old Leigh a shot?
It's not that I don't want to give him a shot. I'm sure he's good at what he does. My reservations are more in line with, I don't want this movie to be remade.
Agreed. I want a Old Man Snake movie. That's what I'm really hoping comes out of this. I want a Halloween 2008-esque version of Escape from New York. I want to see what old Snake is up to in 2019 or 2020. Actually, you know what? The movies probably took place way in the future. I don't even remember. So I want to see what he's up to in 2050.
Yeah, no, I would be way more on board with, another Kurt Russell escape movie. It's just, sometimes you just have certain roles that you feel just need to age more. It's like, well, you were okay with the Friday the 13th reboot. Yeah, I was okay with the Friday the 13th reboot. You wanna know why? Jason at that point had already been played by fucking a million actors, all right? And each actor played him a little differently. You didn't fall in love with one actor playing the same character. I mean, granted, he only played him twice. And let's face it, Escape from L.A. is a far cry from Escape from New York. So,
yeah.
But regardless, he made the character his own within one fucking movie. One movie. It's like Big Trouble in Little China. Again, Kurt Russell again. He made Jack Burton his own. I don't want to see somebody else playing him. It'll make me sad. You don't want to make Bates sad. Don't do that. So that's where my issue is. I get it. We're in a world where the world we live in is remakes now. And what year was Escape from LA? Do you know off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, but I want to say it was the early 90s.
I want to say 94. 96. Okay. So technically, it falls within my rules of being old enough since the last sequel to garner a remake. It falls within my rules. I set those rules. I wrote those rules. They're my rules. And sometimes the rules can be bent a little bit. Yeah, it's been over 20 years, but again, the character. It's the character. I don't know. I can't picture.
I wouldn't even call it the character. I would call it Kurt fucking Russell. I'm sitting here racking my brain while you're talking about like who could step into those shoes, and I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I mean, the character of Jack Burton. There are plenty of actors out there who could play that character. That's a great character, and I could see a lot of different people. I could see somebody like who's actually already worked with Kurt Russell in a very close capacity. I could see someone like Chris Pratt playing a Jack Burton. Star-Lord is almost Jack Burton to a degree.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Someone who I can't see playing Jack Burton? Yeah, The Rock. I'm not buying that one. Sorry. I like The Rock as not an actor. But I like The Rock as a person. But not in that role. And I hope that one dies a quick death.
Last we heard, it was they were trying for Kurt Russell to come back as Jack Burton, and The Rock was just going to be in the movie. So keep fingers crossed. I would fucking watch the shit out of that.
That I'm okay. I would be on board with that. I think those two would have some very unique chemistry.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just you have an actor as bold as Kurt Russell playing a character as fucking badass as Snake Plissken. Yeah, you don't want to ruin those aesthetics with bringing in a new actor. I say let's let this movie age maybe another 10 years. Maybe by then a new actor will emerge that will have the kind of grit that Kurt Russell possessed when this movie was made. I just don't see anybody with that proper grit for this character.
People could have the look, people could have the attitude, but I don't think they're going to be able to even come close to the kind of charisma that he had. He was a solo sort of, kept to himself type of guy, and it's weird to say that nobody could really pull that off the way he did, because it seems like such a simple role. but he just like embodies every character that he plays. You know, like I've been watching a handful of Kurt Russell movies lately, and just he just gets lost in the role entirely. You know, it's Kurt Russell. His voice is unmistakable. His face is unmistakable. Same with his hair and beard and everything. But just no. Can you see another stuntman, Mike? I can't. So, it's just one of those.
No, I could.
Oh,
Again, that's another character. I think a couple other people could have played probably nowhere near as good, but I do think that was an interchangeable part in some aspect. But we're staying focused on Kurt Russell here. We have to remember that this was also a John Carpenter movie. We probably ain't gonna get John Carpenter back to direct and write a movie he's already done before. And then let us not forget the supporting cast here. All right, you got Donald Pleasance, the late, the great, the immortal Donald Pleasance. Okay, you got Adrian Barbeau. Any movie with Billy in it is just instant magic, because there's nobody even coming close to capturing her unique charm and presence that she has on screen. Sorry, it's just not happening. Adrian Barbeau is just a fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a gem, a diamond in the rough when it just comes to her acting style. And it was present in every movie she was in. You're not getting that. Tom Atkins.
Enough said.
It's exactly what I was going to say. I don't even have to say anything else. Tom Atkins. I think Harry Dean Stanton was in that movie, wasn't he? He played Brain. It's fucking Harry Dean Stanton. Like, seriously, you're going to try to replace Harry Dean Stanton? Like, come on, man. That's not cool. That's not cool.
That is a remarkable cast.
Isaac Hayes. That dude, he played the Duke. I mean, come on. Unless you fucking, all right. Unless you get like someone like Fred Williamson.
Oh, now you're casting my remake, my friend.
Then we'd be okay. Then Ernest Borgnine was in fucking the original Escape. Come on, like, I can't even with the cast of that movie. We were talking about Kurt Russell, but you look at the rest of that cast, and it's just fucking A-list in my book, man. Fucking, you can't do it. Don't try. Put it back on the shelf. Revisit it in another 10, 15 years, guys, please.
I'm 100% with you on that. If it's a remake, if it is a sequel, I say bring it the fuck on, and you make sure that Kurt gets whatever he wants to play Snake. That's all you need.
Yeah, I said my piece on that one. All right. Guillermo del Toro dropped 4 mini trailers for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And I gotta say, I liked them. I like them a lot. They were creepy and like overly creepy. And when you think about what this movie is, a movie based on a book of short stories targeting children. I remember taking these books out at my local library like every other week. And
yeah, I bought them at the book sale. I own these. I own the bootleg ones that came after the success of these. I love these things.
And I remember reading these stories as a kid thinking, the fuck am I reading? Like, am I supposed to be reading this? I remember reading one. I think it was in the very first book, because there's 3 official ones as far as I know.
Right.
I remember
then there was a bunch of like rip-offs.
And I think it was in the very first one. There was a poem slash song about two guys who were dead. And I don't remember if they were dead together in a tub or dead together in a bed. And I'm like, this is some macabre fucking shit for a kid to be reading. And then, years later, they did an audio version of the book. And that just, like, amplified the creepiness to a whole new level. Go on YouTube. You can find the fucking audio versions of these stories. And find the story I'm talking about. I believe it was called Barum. I'm going to look it up right now. But, like, what did you think about these little teasers?
All right, so the weird part for me came from the fact that this movie has a very, very similar plot line to Goosebumps. And I watched Goosebumps because, again, I grew up on the Scary Stories books. And I liked R.L. Stine's more teenage books, the Fear Street series back in the day. But, I dabbled in some of the Goosebumps books just to get more horror. So, that was a long way of saying that I checked out the Goosebumps movie, and essentially it reminded me of Jumanji. And that's not what a horror movie should be. That being said, it's scary that the plot lines are very similar between this and Scary Stories. Then we get these trailers. Now, the poster art was really awesome. To see, what was the Scarecrow's name? Harold, I think?
Yeah, Harold the Scarecrow.
Yeah, to see him recreated in live action was frightening. So I knew when they were going to start dropping these, what I thought it was going to be a trailer, they ended up going with 4 mini trailers that kind of showcased very iconic point in the Scary Stories books. The minute I saw the very first one, which had to do with the big toe, I think that was the name of the story.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, the story was like a little kid that was trying to pull a toe out of the ground and ended up cutting it off, and then the corpse went after the kid to get the toe back. The minute I saw this creature design, I knew I had nothing to worry about, regardless of how close to Goosebumps the story was. Because Guillermo and crew are doing a fantastic job to bring monsters to the forefront of this movie. And I was just looking it up now. Do you know the Troll Hunter director is the guy that's directing this movie? So I'm pretty sure that's going to up a couple anticipation points for you.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think we're in good hands. Me and my brother were talking. It's like, it's probably going to be a bunch of kids running around. They're going to run into the monsters and blah, blah, blah. But it surrounds a book, a book of these horrific things that happen to some little girl and these group of kids. They're, kind of running into these real life incarnations of these things. And unlike Goosebumps, which was kind of just this, hey, look, it's Slappy the Clown, or, the Haunted Mask, or this or that, little iconic things from those books brought to life. Meanwhile, you've got Jack Black playing some wacky-ass version of R.L. Stine, and it was just overly hokey. So it was like... I
know somebody who absolutely loved it.
I do too. But in any case, this is going... based off these 4 little teasers, and from what I gather, the official trailer is going to be released in a couple weeks. But based off these 4 teasers, I'm ready for this movie. This is making me want to track down the old books so I can listen to them or read them again. And oh my god, it's bringing back some good memories, and seeing how they're brought to life on the big screen is fucking fantastic. And the use of practical effects. How do you go wrong?
Yeah, I love that. I actually did have a kind of a quarrel with how Harold the Scarecrow looked on that poster. It looked When you look at the original illustration, it looks like a scarecrow. It looks like a really creepy scarecrow, but it looks like a scarecrow. What I get from the movie poster illustration, or I don't know if you really could call it an illustration, but what I'm getting from the movie poster is this looks like a guy in a costume trying to be a scarecrow. And it really kind of put a damper on my I didn't like that. That being said,
Go on.
the one little mini trailer clip that we got shows the creepy creature character from the one short story, which was called The Dream, and it's that really oddly shaped, creepy faced girl that you see all the way down in the hallway. And that looked like the illustration. I get that. That was beautiful the way that was done. Then you had the other girl from the other, one of the other mini trailers from the story called The Red Spot, and it's about this girl with this spot on her face, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, not quite how the illustration looks, but I still get it. It still makes me remember that story. Looking at Harold, it was really kind of a downer to see just how, again, it's just like, that's a dude trying to be a scarecrow, not a scarecrow that sort of looks like a dude. They reversed it, and I just didn't like the way I felt about it.
Honestly, I think that's going to be probably corrected in the final film, only because a lot of poster art is done in post. They have green screens and do professional, photo shoots for this sort of stuff. So it's kind of an afterthought of them recreating the character. Not to say it's not going to look exactly like that in the movie, but I definitely got it despite it taking some reservations. Everything I've seen so far, with the exception of the Dream little clip, seems to take some reservations and I guess adding their own little artistic merits to it. I'm very okay with that. And I guess as long as they keep the spirit alive, I'm more than on board with what they're doing. What I would have liked to do, however, is I would have really liked them to get a little ballsy and make this a black and white movie. Go Ed Wood style, make the whole thing a black and white film, and kind of really, I guess, relish in the shadows, the shadow work and the lighting, as opposed to making it a modern day feeling type of movie. But I get it, that's more of an artistic dream from me, as opposed to something actually that I guess moviegoers would like. I don't know if it would be an off-putting thing for people to see a black and white film or see a black and white film advertised, but I think that would have been my only thing that I would have done differently. But so far, everything's looking really good.
Yeah, for the most part, I love the way it's looking. It's, again, that's just my little personal nitpick about the poster. But everything else I saw, it looks great. Do we know how many of the stories we're actually getting in this movie?
Not offhand. It's pretty tight-lipped so far. I imagine we're going to see a little bit more in the trailer, but these are the ones that we know of right this second. I imagine they're going to kind of dabble all throughout, because this book that, is, I guess, the centerpiece of the story is going to kind of go into all these things that this girl experienced in her life. All these horrific type of happenings that surrounded her. I don't know whether she died or whatnot, but from what I'm gathering in the plot, it's going to be surrounding that. So you're going to see probably a little taste of many different type of stories rather than full stories play out. So I'm interested to see how they really tackle this. I'm interested, and I'm keeping positive about it.
All right. Well, I'm very much looking forward to this. I grew up reading these books. These stories are definitely weren't for kids, but I don't know, they really helped usher me into a lot of really creepy, macabre sort of horror, not just like straight slasher horror, which is what I was really big into as a kid, but like really creepy, macabre style horror, and that's good stuff. Not quite kid friendly, but most horror isn't. But whatever, I turned out okay, maybe. Anyway,
Jury's still out on that.
Jordan Peele takes the Super Bowl to the Twilight Zone. Yeah, all right. So I saw this. I don't know if I saw the extended commercial, but it was just basically him just kind of trying to do like an old timey Twilight Zone style promo, and
I don't like your tone so far, man. You're bumming me out. I'm about ready to fight you.
I wasn't digging it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Personally, it's because, listen, I think they've tried to reboot the Twilight Zone like 2 or 3 times now, and they're terrible. They're not good. And I like Jordan Peele, and I think he's super talented, and I think if anybody has a chance of maybe getting this right, it's gonna be him. But I didn't like this. It felt sort of campy, but I guess maybe that's what he was going for. I don't know. This promo wasn't for me.
It was for me though, because I'm a huge fan. Do you
hate anything? It's like you just love everything.
Dude, The Twilight Zone is probably my favorite television show of all time, without a doubt.
Then you should be like the one who's most worried about this.
No, I don't. Like, I'm really psyched about it. And the worst case scenario, this thing comes out and it sucks. Know what happens? Nothing. Because I still have all 5 fucking seasons of the original Twilight Zone to go back and wipe my tears with. You know what I'm saying? Or, the best case scenario, I'm going to finally have a Twilight Zone reboot that actually means something. So, win-win. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like the Super Bowl commercial. I didn't watch the Super Bowl because, fuck the Patriots and fuck that game and whatever. But from what I've heard, when it happened, nearly like everybody was like having a momentary heart attack thinking that they lost the feed to the game. Because if you haven't seen the commercial, it starts off with that very, very typical return to game screen where it shows the stadium and it's welcome back to Super Bowl 53, blah, blah, blah. And then, the screen starts cutting out and fucking up, and it says CBS offline. So, obviously, a lot of people were just like, wait, what the fuck is happening? They're all freaking out. It immediately grabbed the attention of every single person watching. Not just somebody who would dabble in watching The Twilight Zone, but The Twilight Zone the very next day became a household name again. And for a television show that has as much of as much of a history as the Twilight Zone has, that's great to wake up to they're seeing the entire internet talking about that mini heart attack moment and how they didn't know, excuse me, a Twilight Zone show was being made, and Jordan Peele, it's that fucking guy doing it. Oh my God. It was very, very effective. Not only for me, because it was a nice little tease. I really enjoyed, the little toss, a couple throwbacks and the weirdness of the trailer or the commercial. But I love the fact that it also pulled in a mainstream audience, which to me, if this is good, this basically gives it the strongest legs to stand on, as far as people signing up to the service, watching it, and if it's good, it getting a second season, and I think that's what I want the most. If it's a quality show, I want to see this thing become successful. And to me, I think he won the Super Bowl as far as commercials went. Like people were going crazy over it. And I was just relishing in it because I'm getting another Twilight Zone and it's by a hell of a creator. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm hoping good things too. I just know what previous reboots and incarnations have garnered, and it's been garbage. And I just happened to just not feel the promo. I get what he was going for. I just think it fell flat. Sure. But it seemed to resonate with a lot of people, and that's great. Hopefully the show is just as good. I mean, again, I didn't care for the promo, but a lot of other people do. did. So, maybe I'm in the minority there. So let's hope the show, delivers. So we got a first trailer for the What We Do in the Shadows spin-off TV series that I think is just called What We Do in the Shadows.
Yep. Very simple. You guys following so far?
Now, it doesn't follow the same characters from the movie, which is a little upsetting because those were amazing characters. But we're getting some very similar characters, it seems like. And the show is really hitting on a lot of the beats that the movie hit, and it feels very similar to the movie, which is exactly what fans of the movie should want from this show. What's really great about this series in general is that this may not be the only spin-off show we get. We're actually supposed to get 2 other spin-offs from What We Do in the Shadows.
We have one right now.
Yeah, the one with the cops, right?
Yeah, Wellington Paranormal, that aired in July for 6 episodes and was renewed for a second season. I want to say it's spring or summer it's going to be coming out for season 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I don't even know where to see it.
It aired in New Zealand, so it's probably a little difficult to track down. You might be able to find it on iTunes or Amazon, one of those type of deals. But there's ways.
And I don't remember if it was supposed to be a movie or a show, but we were supposed to get a spin-off featuring the werewolves, and I think it was called Werewolves.
Werewolves. That was supposed to be a spin-off movie that was going to bring Taika Waititi and what's the other dude's name? Jermaine Clement. They bring those guys back to write, direct, and obviously they would have to appear in that movie. I want to see what old Stu is up to.
Yeah, no, I was definitely looking forward to that. I hope that still happens. The werewolf characters seem like they would be really fun characters to follow around. But to get back to this trailer, I loved it. As I said, it hit on all the beats that the movie had, and it felt like the movie just with different characters, but everything felt just exactly the same. And that's all I wanted from this show, and it seems like that's exactly what I'm going to be getting. So, very much looking forward to this show. The trailer really got me amped up.
I'm kind of the opposite, as weird as that might sound. I was really looking forward to this. The Wellington Paranormal trailers have been great. I still haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to it. But I guess I jumped into this trailer, and I guess what turned me off to it a little bit was how many beats were being hit from the movie. And I guess I'm being a little bit greedy here because I've seen the movie, and I love the movie, and I don't want a rehash in a movie because, at this point, why bother rehashing what I already seen? Obviously, the rehashing and hitting on those similar beats is to kind of set the tone that the movie did exceptionally and kind of give the audiences that are new to this, the same sort of feel that Taika did in 2014 with the film. So I get it. I understand what they're going for, but I feel like they're hitting a little bit too close to the characters in the actual film, where it's like, oh, obviously that's your Viago counterpart, and it seems like you could pretty much pin what each character is to which character is in the movie. You could kind of like tie them each together to what kind of vibe that they're trying to put out there. I did watch the trailer a second time a day later, and I appreciated it more with that baggage off my shoulders. My first gut reaction was like, oh, okay, they're doing that. We're going to get the werewolf scenes. We're going to get this scene. We got the coffin scene. And, it was a little too samey, the very first impression. But after I was like, fuck it, just enjoy it. You're getting a spinoff that technically takes place in the same universe as the film. as well as Wellington Paranormal, as well as the eventual Werewolves. So, like, appreciate that the universe is expanding, and if a sequel happens or another spinoff happens, these characters could interact with the characters that we know and love from 2014. So, What We Do in the Shadows. So, I can't be too mad about them hitting the same beats when once the show gets rolling, we're going to be past the beats of the movie and new things are going to be created. So, I just gotta wait it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what I wanted, because I love those characters from the movie so much that I just wanted more of them. And, I'm obviously not getting those characters, but I'm getting something close to those characters. And in my opinion right now, that's fine. Because, you don't think you're ever going to get a sequel to What We Do in the Shadows, especially with how Taika Waititi's career has just been skyrocketed because of Thor Ragnarok. So,
not to mention he's doing The Mandalorian. He did a bunch of episodes for Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian. He even has a character that supposedly shared some scenes with Boba Fett. So that's crazy. This dude is shot right into the heavens as far as career went.
And I just want to put it out there. I was a massive fan of this dude before he blew up. Big fan of What We Do in the Shadows, and absolutely loved his big follow-up movie, which was called Hunt for the Wilder People, or the Wilder People, rather.
I still gotta watch that. Dude's work is amazing, so I don't know why I haven't.
Yeah, it was a hard film to actually find for a while. It was really only playing in like art house theaters and shit. I had to see it in that little art house theater in Montclair on Bloomfield Ave, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you were gonna go see that.
Yeah, and I did. I was so happy I did.
Isn't that kid from Deadpool 2 in it?
Yep.
Nice.
He plays a character named Ricky Baker. great character. The movie is so so amazing, absolutely amazing. And it was another one of those movies that, like the year it came out, the fact that it got completely snubbed in the Oscars, despite it having like one of the greatest Rotten Tomato ratings of all time, aside from it, just being absolutely beloved by every person and every critic that saw it. It got snubbed, and it was at that point that I stopped getting mad about, the Academy Awards snubbing films that deserve at least nods. And yeah, the dude's amazing. Check out all his work. Just great stuff all around for Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. I'm literally sitting next to a Korg Funko Pop. That's how much I like Taika Waititi.
All right, how about we jump into... You want to do some comic news here?
I don't know. Do you want to? Or do you want to go right into raising your blood?
No, we can knock out some of these real quick. I mean, there isn't a whole lot, and not a whole lot to discuss. All right.
Nah, go for it.
Now, we'll do some comic and geek news here. All right, so Matt Reeves, the Batman movie we've been hearing so much about, but nothing ever happens with it.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Is to be driven by its noir detective comic roots, which would be fucking fantastic and refreshing, considering that the last two movies that had Batman on it were pretty pathetic when it came to the whole detective thing. Dude didn't seem like much of a detective in my opinion, especially in Batman vs Superman. I can't even get through Justice League.
I don't think he was portrayed as a detective in pretty much anything. I mean, like maybe little bits in Batman Forever, possibly a bit
Batman '89,
in the original Batman. That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
He didn't have as much as the comics, but he definitely had some in '89. That's for sure. Less so in Returns.
Yeah, a little bit, but not as much. I sort of want to blame that on studio interference, but I mean that's nowhere a discussion for another time. But so yeah, I mean this is what he's saying. Whether or not it happens, maybe he's just trying to get fans excited for this movie because it's just not fucking going anywhere. But I don't know. It would be cool.
I think he's been having to juggle all of this stuff, you know, with a lot of changes in the overall DCEU. You know, how they are switching from, oh, we're doing what Marvel's doing. Oh, we're not doing what Marvel's doing, even though we kind of are. Nope, we're going to just focus on solo movies that don't mean anything to get to the bigger picture, even though we kind of are moving towards a bigger picture. Point being is there's so much convoluted indecision going on in Warner Brothers right this second. So I feel as though like they just keep saying, oh, well, the Batman's our biggest fucking, franchise. We're going to have to do it right. And this is our goal of the week. You know, this is our destiny of the week as far as where we're taking the big ship. And week by week, this guy has to morph his script into something else. From what I gather, Affleck is completely out. He finally confirmed it on Twitter, which was to no surprise to anybody. And
wait, when did that happen?
He announced it earlier in the week, and people are taking it as him being out. He quoted Matt Reeves talking about the script being turned in recently, and said something like, "I can't wait to see it in the summer." Blah blah blah. Like it was a huge implication that he was not going to see it take place as Batman, but as a moviegoer. So you know, everybody ran with the headlines that he's finally out. I took it as him being out as well, personally. That being said, this announcement of the whole leading into the detective elements of Batman is really, really interesting to me, simply because if you played the Telltale Batman games at all, or the Arkham Knight games, those are video games I know that are difficult to translate to big screen and everything, but the detective elements really fucking work. As well as they have in the comics for so many years, this is completely feasible on the big screen, and with a handful of great villains. And Batman has some of the best villains out there. With that sort of kind of rogues gallery, I think this is the best kind of film to go forward, especially when you're trying to revitalize the franchise and give it a new, second wind, I suppose. So. Shit. I mean, like, I figured I wanted to put this in today simply because I know this is something that you and I have talked about for years, about seeing that Batman on the big screen. So to see Matt Reeves to come out and say, oh, well, you know what? This is the Batman I want to see too, and this is the Batman I'm going to give you. So fingers crossed that everything stays that way, and going forward, we're going to get that.
Yeah, and just to bring up something that's not on our notes here, not Batman related, but sort of in the same vein, is we could eventually see a new Superman, because Mr. Henry Cavill apparently, while open to returning to play the Man of Steel, has quite a laundry list of demands, including a massive pay raise and director approval and producer credit, and I believe script approval.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I just read an article not too long ago about somebody who had those demands and received them. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger on Terminator 3. And look what happened there.
Relax. Relax.
Enough said there. Sorry. Go back to Superman.
So yeah, I could pretty much see WB laughing in this dude's face, being, yeah, we're gonna get a Superman, and we're not gonna make him a dark, brooding little pussy.
Honestly, I think his hairline is receding too much. So I think that his his days are numbered as Superman.
But yeah,
it was basically
his mustache hairline. Whoa, God.
Oh man, but yeah, no, I think his days have long been over. I think he's just making comments in the media to stay relevant with The Witcher nearing completion and ready to eventually be released. I think he's just keeping his name out there at this point.
Yeah, man, move on. And if people like you as Superman, you got three movies where you were Superman. So there you go. You got that's 2 more than Brandon Routh and 3 more than Nicolas Cage. So
very true, very true.
Way to go, man.
But no, it seems like DC is doing some crazy ass changes, and we're always optimistic about where things are going to go. We're not trusting because they change their mind every week. But hey, more power to them. Bringing in James Gunn for fucking Suicide Squad. I mean, smart move, very very smart move. So, maybe there's a light at the end of this dark tunnel, but who knows at this point?
Maybe there's a mustache at the end of it.
Well, there's definitely a mustache. There's always a mustache.
All right, before we get lost in mustache jokes and puns, let's go ahead. Let's move on here.
I was about to break out Martha, so good choice.
Exactly. I'm saving the stream, people. Future Deadpool films. Most likely to remain rated R. But at what cost, you may ask? Well, at the cost of Deadpool really not being part of the MCU. He might be part of the much, much greater MCU in the sense that he'll be there, but he won't be there. He won't be interacting with your Tony Starks and your Captain Americas, but he's still there. And I guess I'm sort of okay with that. I wish they would... Some kind of interaction with these characters would be great. And it's very simple. They can make it to where he could randomly... and I've said this before on a couple of streams. He could randomly just show up in a movie, drop a couple of lines, drop a couple of F-bombs that get bleeped out, and he could bitch like, what the... as he's trying to figure out what's going on because all of his dialogue is getting bleeped out, and then he just gets fed up and leaves. Like, that's a Deadpool moment that fans would absolutely love, and it shows you that he's in the universe without fucking anything up.
I want to say this real quick, though. Keep in mind that we're finding out this news from a conference call about earnings. So Bob Iger is talking to people that don't give a fuck about Deadpool. They don't care about Tony Stark. They don't care about what a comic book is. It's how much money are we going to earn at the end of each quarter? And to play it safe in a meeting like that and say, no, we're going to keep the successful R-rated Deadpool to himself, and we're going to still keep it R-rated because that's what the fans like and that's what they're responding to. Of course we're going to keep it away from those safe Disney movies, the safe kid movies. But when push comes to shove, they know Deadpool's fucking money, and to have him pop up in some sort of cameo role will increase just like theater goers wanting to go and see it more. I have no doubt in my mind that creatively he's going to be popping up a lot more than a lot of people are fearing. But he is not going to be the typical Deadpool that we're going to see in the movies. He's going to keep that sort of vibe going for his own movies. But I don't have a single doubt in my mind about him coming to play in the overall scheme of the MCU, because they like making money, and Deadpool's money. So you put him in one of these movies, and the rest is history. So I think the jury's still out on what to expect. This is just my perspective on it. I just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many possibilities where you could bring him into any Marvel movie for like literally 30 seconds and have him just steal the entire movie. I mean, like, just imagine like a big sort of finale fight scene, and maybe maybe the Hulk is there just ripping through just loads of fucking trash mobs. All right, I don't know what else to call them.
That's a good way to put it.
and then all of a sudden, just Deadpool just jumps in and starts helping him, and he makes a quip to Hulk, and then Hulk just looks at him and just gets pissed and just fucking takes him and just throws him against the wall or just attacks him instead, and then just Deadpool just starts cursing him out, and it's just all getting bleeped out. And just Deadpool just goes, "Fine, fuck you, you big green asshole, I'm leaving." And just walks off. For 30 seconds, that's all you need, and you've just made every Deadpool fan happy.
Not to mention every Deadpool fan with a social media account, because the minute they see that opening night, that shit is going to be trending worldwide in minutes. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the type of stuff that modern day businessmen, filmmakers look for. Producers. They want to know how much clout you have, how much trends you have, and all this nonsense that doesn't really matter. But fuck, the minute Deadpool shows up in one of your movies and curses out the Hulk, that's it. You're gonna be the star. Deadpool's gonna be the star of every meme going forward for that entire weekend. So I mean, it's money, no matter what, no matter which movie he's in or who he's interacting with.
Think about how much money both Deadpool movies made. They're together they're at like 1.5 billion. All right, think about how much money these movies made under Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it rated R. Bring it over to Marvel Studios and Disney. Yeah, there is a strong possibility you're going to see, probably very close to double the amount of money, knowing that this character is now playing in the same universe as the rest of the Avengers and all those characters. And you know what? You could do this seamlessly, very seamlessly, in the way that, like, maybe from the end of Deadpool 2, maybe Deadpool finds one of Cable's time-traveling devices and ends up fucking with it and gets blasted into the MCU universe. He gets taken out of his Fox universe and goes into the MCU. It's so easy to write him in seamlessly and not change the character at all.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't have to go big with him either. Just like little cameos and little scenes. And even if he comes and teams up with a group at the end of an Avengers movie, or fights on the side of, or fights in the middle of an Avengers versus X-Men movie, just whoever's going to pay him the most.
Or him just sitting there eating popcorn, watching the two fight.
Exactly. That's all you need to make him successful. And then once that next Deadpool movie comes, you're just fucking counting the money to the bank. And the best part about Deadpool coming over and then remaining to what worked for him is that, not only is a CEO not afraid to make money, but Kevin Feige knows what the fuck he's doing. So anything that might have felt a little bit off about those Deadpool movies are certainly going to get corrected under his, leadership. I have no doubt in my mind that as far as that goes. And I mean, you can only say so much more. It's just him going to the MCU, regardless of what, business people are saying to other business people, is a great thing. And they wouldn't have really tried for this, if they didn't know that he was worth that money. They brought him up specifically in a conference call. So obviously he's a big, important step in this whole Disney Fox trade, which is about to be fully done within the month, from what I understand.
Yeah, listen, Marvel and Disney are all about making money and doing anything that they think is going to be profitable. Now, did they take chances on some movies and some characters? Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy being two of them. Yes, they were both chances that ended up paying off very, very well. Taking a chance on Deadpool is no longer a chance. It's already proven viable. It's proven viable as a fucking rated R movie. That's not something that happens anymore. So when you have the kind of resources that now Marvel and Disney have, and you take and you're able to translate that into a now proven viable rated R character, the amplification that takes place is tenfold, in my opinion. So Marvel is doing what's best for business.
I'm not even commenting. Let's move on. That was great.
People power. Oh man.
Nice button you put on that. I like that.
That's what I do, man. So to kind of revisit a little Taika Waititi news, he has said that he will not be directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because my man has got some integrity. He got integrity. He said that's James's film. I ain't gonna fuck with his film. I won't want people fucking with my films. I like that. That's why I like you, Waititi. You're okay in my book. But he might be interested in doing something else.
Now, I added this because I wanted to hear your take on what film would you love to see Taika do? Like, what comic character that Marvel, Disney currently own or is about to own would you like him to tackle? Or do you want him to do the next Thor movie?
No, he fixed Thor. You're done. Don't need you any more Thors. What character would I love to see him do? Well, obviously, it needs to be a character who has some of, a bit of a quirky, funny side. Now, if this was, a few years ago, I would have said Spider-Man.
Okay, I like that.
But obviously, that's not really an option at the moment. Well, I guess it could be for another Spider-Man sequel, but then you're really altering Spider-Man's character at that point when you inject Waititi into the mix, because Thor is a completely different character in Thor Ragnarok. But that's okay. He needed that change. He needed that amplification. I like that word tonight. That's my word of the night. But when it comes to what kind of character he could tackle, he could tackle a character like Loki. Obviously he's already written Loki in Thor Ragnarok like that. But character I would love to see, and we were supposed to get this character in a TV series. As far as I know, that TV series isn't happening anymore. But actually, two characters who would actually be perfect for a team-up movie, as they have teamed up in the comics before. And that would be Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, and Squirrel Girl. Write that movie, YTT. Do it. I want Squirrel Girl in my life. And you's gots to do it for me. Because I don't think we're getting a New Warriors TV show anymore. I don't think it's happening. And that's sad, because I was really looking forward to the AT&T girl playing Squirrel Girl. But it's just, yeah, I could see him writing those characters perfectly. They're both quirky characters. They have senses of humor, and they're kind of funny in the comics, and especially when they team up together. Definitely would love to see him do that. I am not sure if Mungus is still alive over there. I think he might be having...
Yeah, I'm here.
Having a little technical difficulties?
I was trying to get a site to load for their next topic, and I just started lagging like hell, and I couldn't barely understand what you were saying. But I think I'm all good now. I 110% agree with Kamala Khan. Like, even if Squirrel Girl's not a part of it, which I would love to see, that's... I was going to say Doctor Strange, but I like Scott Derrickson and what he's done with the character in the film, but, adding a little bit of Taika's wackiness to it, I think it'd make for an interesting film for him to direct. But you sold me on Miss Marvel and Kamala Khan, Squirrel Girl. I'm 100% on board on that.
Yeah, man, they're just two great characters, and we have reached that pinnacle of comic book movies and superhero movies where fucking the Gen Pop would be like, yeah, Squirrel Girl, and obviously a Muslim superhero in Kamala Khan. That's some ballin' shit right there, man. Fucking, I am on board 110%. 110% with that. Just a lot of the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel comics are very, very good. Very, and it's a great character. She's an Inhuman, but a very great character. Her powers aren't overly unique, but I dig them. And when you have a great character behind some mediocre powers, it all helps. I mean, fucking Squirrel Girl's got the dumbest powers in the world, and yet she's like one of the greatest characters in my opinion. I love fucking Squirrel Girl. Are you kidding me? But how do you make a character who can talk to squirrels and has squirrel-like speed and strength? Fucking how do you make that fun? I don't know. Marvel writers found a fucking way to do it.
It's all in the personality and the charisma, the charm. I remember picking up the. I didn't. I downloaded it if I remember correctly, but I read the first issue of the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel, and I was just, I don't know, I was just completely sucked into that world, and it relates to me a little bit too because Kamala Khan's from New Jersey, so it was like very much like, oh, I was that comic book reading kid with too much imagination, looking up to non-existent superheroes, in her case, existing superheroes. And it like, I read this as an adult, and it instantly like sucked me back to my childhood. And it's really, really unique character, perspective, writing, overall effective. And I think that seeing that take place on the big screen or a television show for Disney Plus, I am on board, and I'm doubly on board if Taika, is the guy that's kind of wrangling it together. So yeah, I think we should start hounding him on Twitter just to be like subliminal messaging, like Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, just dropping this stuff to him on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's what he has in mind. Maybe that's what he's trying to sell to Marvel right now. And I think if anybody, aside from the Russos, could sell it to Marvel, it would be Waititi at this moment. I think after Thor Ragnarok, he's got some pull there now. And, it's just, you can only hope. We only have one Phase 4 movie, that's really in the pipeline, and that's obviously Spider-Man Homecoming. Far From Home, I'm sorry. Spider-Man Far From Home. Obviously we're getting a Black Panther sequel, and, there might be one or other two movies that they've been talking about, but as far as I know, there's like the Doctor Strange 2, but there's nothing filming or nothing super concrete at the moment. So
yeah, we got Black Widow, which I hear is supposed to start production this summer. So I think we're going to be getting that on the horizon. But I've got a feeling that they're about to, like with the release of Endgame, shortly after that, maybe Comic-Con, we're gonna start understanding what their overall game plan is. A couple of years ago, they said they had everything planned out into like midway to 2025. If they had planned out to 2025, there are definitely things that they aren't telling us yet. So it's yet to be seen what is ahead for Marvel, but all the same, we got a big Phase 4 that's going to offer and kind of like bring in a lot of change. So with that, I'm sure we're going to get plenty of new characters. So yep. Let's just hope that Taika is doing one of them.
And just to wrap this up real quick, the Black Widow movie, which is being rumored to possibly be rated R.
That's very interesting. I heard a little bit about that. Obviously, a lot of these comic movies like to shoot for rated R, but maybe hit PG if possible. But if they're aiming for rated R, that's That could be good, man. Could be definitely
I like it. And yeah, I'm sure obviously Marvel and Disney have all these movies planned out already. How do you release them to the public? How do you tell the people? I know how they've done it in the past, but I know how you do it now. I know how you do it in the future. Obviously, Avengers Endgame is mere months away. What 2 months?
April something.
Yeah, we're like 2 months away. All right, and right now the only movie that is slated for Phase 4 is, and that's like done and in the pipe, Far From Home. Okay, that's cool. What you do though is one of the end credit scenes for Avengers Endgame. Make it a sizzle reel of all the upcoming movies. You don't have to show, obviously, don't have to show footage or anything. Just fade in for the Doctor Strange 2 sequel. Maybe it's subtitle. Fade out. Fade in the next movie. Fade out. Just give us a sizzle reel of all the upcoming titles for Phase 4. That's how you do it.
I like it, but give me some footage too. Even if they got to shoot something specifically for it, and halfway through that footage, you have Deadpool come in and like wink and point at the camera, or at the very
there
end.
You go. Yeah, there you go. You made it even better. You made it even better. And it could be the second or third after credit scene, because there's gonna be one or two, probably maybe one noting the future big villain at the end of Phase 4 or end of Phase 5, which I would assume is either going to be someone like Annihilus or possibly like Galactus or maybe Michael Korvac, but I don't think a lot of comic readers really know Michael Korvac, or the Beyonder. There's a lot of big baddies still out there, maybe even Doctor Doom. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I don't. But I think that would be a really cool way to cap off Avengers Endgame with a sizzle reel of what we can expect for Phase 4. All right, so we are really running tight on time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make this one. This is actually good. This means I can't fucking
go off the rails.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. So it's actually a good thing, guy. All right. So we're gonna do. I'm gonna quickly do a little pressurize. We have not done pressurizing in quite a while, but some shit happened today, and I'm mad as hell. All right. So after a very long hiatus, a return to the pressurizing segment.
It sickens me to watch you. All I ever do is cry and do my best to kill you, because all of you must die. And although I created you, I have always hated you. Fuck this place.
All right. So we touched on this a little bit earlier during our warm-up. I don't know what their fucking sort of intro, And Mungus, you want to drop the link to the article I will be referencing in chat? It would be much appreciated. And as I said, I am not going to spend a lot of time in this. I'm going to say what I got to say. I'm going to make my fucking point, and I'm going to be done with it, because I already dealt with a lot of fucking ignoramuses and ignorant fucking fools out there. All right, so that article that was just dropped in chat, it's a very good article. All right, I like that article. Somebody on Twitter today decided to post that article, right? And it was clearly obvious. They did not read the article. They saw the title, and they fucking lit their torch, grabbed their pitchfork off the fucking wall, and they just went off the rails themselves. They saw the word activism. Activism. You know what? Seriously. You know what?
I'm so scared of activism.
Activism activated their triggering system. That's what it did to these people. And they fucking freaked out, man. They were treating activism like some kind of fucking, like, Nazi propaganda word, they see the word activism and they automatically fucking attribute it to something bad. You know, when you have activists for something, these are bad people. They're standing up for things that are wrong. We don't want this activism in this movie. We don't want this person using this word. All right? But it's obvious they didn't read the fucking article. You want to know what she meant by activism? She meant she was going to use the movie, a powerful movie, you know, another female-led superhero movie, a strong character, a powerful character, a character that can be an inspiration and a role model to girls around the world, whether they're 6, 7, 8 years old, or they're 30 or 40 years old, all right? It's an empowering character, just like Wonder Woman was. And what Brie Larson wanted to do is use this movie, use this character as a platform to help women and people of color. She says that in the article. And she wants to do more for these people and these women. And she wants to use the movie and the character of Captain Marvel as her platform. And she happened to use the word activism in this interview she gave. And people just, I shouldn't say, like a group of people took it the wrong fucking way and just blew up at her. And
I think you're being nice calling them people, but you know, go on.
I don't want to get into too much because I argued with these fucking people all day on Twitter, and all they were doing, as I was blatantly calling them out on their shit, calling them sexist and racist, because again, she specifically says in the article, women and people of color, groups of people that have been obviously oppressed and held down for generations, all right? And what these people were coming back at me with was straight up projection, trying to find faults in my words and saying that I was the sexist and the racist person. Listen.
I chalked it up to them basically saying, I know you are, but what am I? Like, it was so fucking flimsy of an argument for anybody to even stand on. Not even worth giving any attention to because it was that asinine. But, go on.
You're right. It wasn't, but I got triggered. And I fell for the trap. And again, I'm blaming you fucking Stefan. If you're watching or if you re-listen to this, fuck you, man. I'm sick of your shit and your penchant for starting Twitter wars. And it fucking rubbed off on me. Fuck you. You're the reason why this segment is happening today. All right?
Fuck you, Stefan. And also, do you want to be on the next commentary? We love you.
And so they're trying to project their sexist ways and the misogynistic ways and their fucking racism onto me, and they're just not. They weren't even trying. And I actually had some guy bring. You know, I don't even want to get into it because it's just so ridiculous. But I had some guy who was bringing up just something that just like I don't even know. He must have been on drugs for trying to bring this up. He kept using this as like a basis for his argument, but that's like this basis he was trying to make his argument on was pretty much he was building his house on straw.
I mean, yeah, without a doubt.
So at the end of the day, listen, I get it. Sometimes sometimes you'll see a word, and the word might make you cringe a little bit, and I get it. Activist.
How did we get to that point where activism is a bad word? Okay, they immediately attribute it to social justice words, which is an even scarier three words. And why? What does fighting for somebody that is less fortunate than you, like, where is the bad in that? That's what I wonder. Like I grew up on the mentality that if somebody, maybe doesn't have a lunch or something at school, maybe you share with them, or somebody's picking up on, like, some big asshole's picking on a little asshole. You want to go and kind of like put yourself in between that, like to do good for somebody that doesn't necessarily have the power to do good for themselves. Why is that such a threatening thing to people? And that's why everybody's freaking out about this fucking article, because they immediately attribute it to SJWs trying to fight for people that aren't them. And, like, you aren't them. Be happy that you're not them, because you wouldn't have to be going through these fucking struggles that a lot of people do. You don't know what that is fucking like, so you could sit atop your fucking pedestal and look down on the people that are less fortunate because you've never had to fucking worry or struggle a day in your goddamn life. And that drives me crazy that we're at a point in time where a vast group of people are sitting there saying we shouldn't fucking be activists or like powered in activism. We shouldn't fight for somebody that's less, fortunate or is more needy because they're not fighting for me too. That's the most selfish, fucking greedy bullshit I've ever fucking heard. Like, what's the point of it? Like, why did we come this far as a society only to backpedal that far back? Makes no sense to me. Sorry for hijacking.
No, man. You pretty much put the cap on what I was trying to say beautifully. And I'm just going to add one little extra nugget. Activism is not a bad thing. Activism is passion. Now, can passion be misplaced? Absolutely. But the basis behind activism is passion driven. Remember that before you fucking judge because you hear the word activist or activism. It is not an evil word. It's not like fascism. There's no getting around that word. You can't.
I mean, if you argue with somebody's jackoffs, they might say otherwise. But hey,
you know, fascism, fascist. There's no misinterpreting that. That's what that is. Activism is another word for passion and passionate. Again, can it be misplaced? Absolutely, it can. But don't get mad at the word.
Let me say one thing real quick. If you misplace passion, you're just spreading love. You're spreading goodness. You're not spreading fucking misogynistic, racist, sexist, disgusting fucking behavior. You're spreading a little bit more passion than you should. A little more love than you should. And there ain't nothing wrong with that, because that little extra bit of love or passion might inspire that next person to spread it and pay it forward. Where's the problem in that? How would that negatively affect the world? Maybe if, like, these assholes received a little bit of that passion and love themselves, maybe they wouldn't have to sit on the internet all fucking day crying about a very, very fortunate person trying to take a platform that she is going to be very well known for and do a little good by opening a school. Or
oh my god, what a fucking monster. She's opening a school. She wants to help people. Like, she wants to teach. Oh my god, I get it now. I see where these people are coming from.
Where is the fucking problem? Where is the problem? Do you want to go to the school? Maybe if you ask nicely, instead of being a cock face on Twitter, maybe she'll open a school for special people like you. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I said what I wanted to say.
Yeah, pretty much. Activism is passion. Don't hate the word. The word is fine. You may not believe in what a particular group of activists stand for. I get that. That's fine. That's your opinion. That's your right as a human being. But you are hating a word because you're attributing it to something malicious and evil. And that's not fair to the word. The word did nothing to you. Maybe a group of activists ruined your life because of what they were activists for. I don't know. Go seek fucking therapy, all right? It's a fucking word.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done with that. I stand with you, Brie Larson. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Looking forward to Captain Marvel. Looking forward to what you're doing with this platform, with this fame, with your name. You know, I can only hope good things, and, you know, anything to help empower women further is just like fucking make it. There's one thing I love in this world. It's a strong woman. I married one. That also means she's stubborn as fuck. That doesn't change the fact that she is probably one of the strongest, most independent women I've ever met. One of the reasons why I married her. Still stubborn, but I love that. And I want more of that. And, you know, hopefully one day I have a little girl of my own and I can raise her to be hopefully half as strong as her mother. Just fucking love what Breeze wants to do. And I stand behind it 100%.
Ditto.
All right, guys. Very passionate, strong episode today. I love it. I had a lot of fun tonight. This was a really great, a little long. We went a little long today, but we got into some good fucking topics, got into some great conversations, and we were going to cut the pressurizing, save it for next week, but I thought it was something a little too important. I wanted to get it off my chest. It was bothering me all day because I was dealing with ignorant fools all day, and I feel much better about it now. And I want to thank you guys for putting up with that. Hopefully you feel the same way. I can't judge if you don't, but I will. You know, it's, again, passion, man. You gotta have passion in life. Thank you, guys. You got anything else to say before we wrap it up here, Mungus?
I think I said all I wanted to say, but I mean, it wouldn't hurt to be better people out there. Even if you're, you know, a top-notch type of fella, or what's the female equivalent of fellow woman? Hey, if you're either sex, whatever you identify as, if you're a better person,
gal.
Gal. There you go. Let's roll with that.
No, lassie. I like lassie better.
Oh God, you sound like a 1960s office worker. Get over here, lassie. This is back about the. Oh my God. Anyway. The whole point of what I'm trying to make is if you go out into the world tomorrow and you just do one extra little nice thing for somebody, is it really going to take that much away from your day? It's going to put a little bit more positivity in somebody else's life. And if everybody in the world fucking did that, I think the world might be just a little less hateful than it is today. So, yeah, do that.
Let's do that. All right, guys. So thank you so much for putting up with this crap tonight. As I said, we touched on a lot of cool topics and subjects, and a lot of fun tonight. Make sure if you have not subscribed, you hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell. Hit that little like. Just press all the buttons on our YouTube channel. It's fun. It's like a game. It's like an elevator, man. Just press them all.
Just if it says subscribed and it's a white button, don't press that again.
No, just press it twice.
Okay, there you go. And then press the bell again.
I won't take away your joy for pressing buttons. Everyone likes to press a fucking button, man. Press that shit twice. Make sure you follow us over on Twitter. You can follow our way of life. Twitter, even though we really don't tweet. Don't follow that Twitter. We don't post there anymore.
The only reason I have that still is because a couple of people were messaging me basically to find out if we were doing a podcast when we were running a little late. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to keep it.
But follow us over at Dead End Site. And then follow us personally for, podcast news and updates and all that shit at Bates_MotelMT at Ray Mungus. That way, I never point the right way.
One day you will. One day.
Probably not. Make sure you like us over on Facebook, facebook.com/Dead Entertainment. And make sure you check out the website. That's the most important thing. DeadEntertainment.com.
Yeah, we're going to be getting a little Pet Cemetery trailer tomorrow. So tune in nice and early or midday-ish East Coast time for a cool Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, there you go. I think it's dropping at 9 a.m. Eastern time, somewhere around there. So check that shit out. That's gonna be cool. Dead is better. Yeah, so I hope you guys have also been enjoying, if you're gamers out there, Resident Evil 2. It's been super, super popular. Very fun game. A little difficult at first, but once you kind of get it down, the difficulty curve is not too bad.
I've still got all my ammo, and my gas tank is inflated.
There you go. I'm taking a break from the game. I have finished Leon A, Claire B, and I finished the 4th Survivor. I've actually was having fun the other night doing 4th Survivor runs. I've seen people get nearly 9-minute flat runs. I've almost gotten a sub 10 run, and that's kind of my goal. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing them and I'd love to try to get almost a 9 flat run. There's a couple rooms I really got to clean up, and I just got to remember. I don't know how fucking speedrunners remember all this shit. I'm trying to speedrun a game mode that really only takes 10 minutes to run, and I can't remember half the shit I need to remember. So fucking man, speedrunners, you guys fucking crazy, man. Hats off to you. So, guys, you can check out my streams. As I said, I'm taking a break from Resident Evil right now and going back to a few other games. I actually did install Apex Legends. I'm going to be trying that out with a couple of friends, so that'll be on stream soon. And yeah, I've actually started playing Friday the 13th again since that new patch. Definitely makes the game a little bit different and a bit more intense because Jason's not a big old pussy anymore. So that's pretty cool too. So check those out.
You gotta let me know, man, because I was just about to tell you after we got off the stream that we gotta find a game to fucking play. It's been a while since I played on your stream.
There you go. We'll make something happen. So yeah, definitely check out my channel. If you guys have not entered in my giveaway, there's 4 days left, like pretty much 3 days left to enter in my giveaway. If you want a chance to win a beautiful X-Men Gray Matter art print, good shit. So make sure you jump over to my channel for those details and how to enter. It's very, very simple. Anything else to plug before we wrap it up?
Nope, you pretty much covered everything. Check the chat right now for the links for his channel as well as the giveaway in 2 seconds.
All right. There you go. Thank you guys so much. We might be doing a live commentary, I think, next Friday, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best time for it. We got a whole lot of stuff planned for next weekend, so we may as well pile it on, you know what I'm saying?
There you go. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be dropping news if that's 100%, but we're pretty sure it's happening. So keep eyes on our Twitter for updates on that. That should be fun. You guys can watch it with us. Remember, if you need to know how to watch it with us, just contact me on Twitter. I will give you all the info. It's pretty simple. Anyway, guys, thank you again. We will see you next week. And remember.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.